There are really two main ways to use a rewards-based network. The first is to improve discoverability of your app. We're going to spend a lot of time today talking about this one. I'll come back to this in the next slide or two. But the other, if I could spend a few minutes there, is to acquire cost-effective users over time. Now, the goal here is not to move rank, it's not to increase discoverability, it's really to just use the rewards-based ad network to find good users. And in that regard, it's very similar to how you might use a non-incent ad network. Now, if we're going to use it like maybe like a non-incent ad network, the first question that's probably popping up in many of your minds is, well, how does it compare to these ad networks? And if you were to hold them up side by side, you'd notice, I think, a couple of very interesting things. The first is that on a rewards-based network, you will see lower loyalty rates. You'll see lower registration rates, and you'll very likely see lower purchase rates. But the other interesting thing that you'll see is that they have much lower bids. And because of that, many publishers find that campaigns on rewards-based networks actually back out in a very cost-effective and ROI positive way. In fact, we have today running on FreeMyApps many apps that are employing this strategy. And if you look at the cost per registration or the cost per loyal user acquired, we're oftentimes actually beating some non-incent ad networks. So that's the second way to use rewards-based networks. But let me turn back to the goal of improving visibility. There are over 2.5 million apps in the Google Play and the iOS app stores. That is an absolutely staggering number. And quite frankly, it's a very impressive number. 2.5 million apps. What that means is that there is a lot of choice out there for app lovers as they go out and decide what apps and games they're going to download and use. Now, what it also means is that it's very difficult for new apps and games to actually get discovered. This is particularly true because many users, when they are deciding what apps to download and use, really stick with what is at the top of the charts, top overall, top in a category, or top in a subcategory. So if you're not there already, what do you do in order to improve visibility? The short answer is use a rewards-based network like FreeMyApps.